Hey y'all, it's Kathleen here. We are going to be live today talking about the nutrition blueprint. So I think what I'll do is just wait a couple of minutes to see if anybody's able to jump on, and then we'll get started. I'm also going to see if I can follow along on my iPad so I can read comments. I can't see from here to my phone. So I see somebody's joined. Renee, hey, glad you could be here with me. I'm just going to give a couple minutes to see if people can jump on, and I'm going to try to get it on my iPad too so I can follow along. How do you usually get it? There it is. Okay. All right. I think Margot, it looks like Margot's on. Hi, Margot. As you all jump on, say hello. Let me know that you're there just in case I miss you. Sometimes I don't see everything on there. I am going to give it a couple minutes just to see who's able to jump on. But today we're talking about the nutrition blueprint. So hopefully you got an email this morning with your link to the workbook, and you were able to, if not download it and print it off, at least look at it and get an idea of what we're going to be doing for next week with our nutrition. If you joined the Facebook group and registered within after 8 o'clock this morning, my husband's standing over there, so that's who I'm talking to. If you joined after 8 o'clock this morning, you haven't received the workbook yet, but will, so hang tight. You'll get an idea from what we talk about here today, and you can ask your questions, of course. I want to answer every question, concern, if you're confused. And then we're going to be sending out an email in the morning with the workbooks and the replay and everything. So let's see. I should be looking over here, right? Hi, Anne. Thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. We're just going to give it a couple minutes, maybe another minute or so, see if anybody else is able to jump on. I hope you have your workbooks available, or at least you kind of looked at it, and ask all the questions you need to. I want to make sure that you understand and you feel confident about your nutrition going into next week, because that's going to be super, super important for the 7 days that we're doing the challenge. This is kind of like your baseline, and then every day we're going to grow on that with different daily simple tasks. Nothing too difficult. I've got my workbook, so I'll be kind of looking at that to guide me today in our conversation. Where's everybody from? I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's so cold here today. We're not used to the cold weather here, so I think it's still 30-something degrees outside and it's noon. We're used to a lot of sun here, so we're just kind of staying inside and working and staying warm. We've got the gas fireplace going on and off all day long. So anybody from cold weather, there's, I think, a huge storm right now covering a lot of the Northeast and maybe the Midwest. I'm not sure, but maybe that's part of what we've got going on here. We're looking forward to a little bit warmer weather. But I don't want to jinx ourselves, because we were in California over the holidays visiting my family. That's where I'm originally from, and it was cool, you know. I mean, during the day it was like in the high 50s, and I was like, oh, it could be a little bit warmer here. And then when we got off the plane in Charleston, I think it was like 70 some degrees with like 70% humidity, and I'm like, okay, it could be cooler here. Tennessee, it's freezing there too, so you've got what we've got maybe. But does it get cold there? Does it snow in Tennessee? maybe? Tulsa, Oklahoma. You guys are from all over, so that's awesome. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and get started? We waited about 5 minutes, so if other people can jump on, they can get involved in the conversation too. And remember, if maybe I don't see your comment today, or you have other questions, or you want to share, listen to the replay again, so in case you missed something, the video will stay inside the Facebook group, so you can watch it as many times as you want, and also it will be in your email tomorrow morning, so you can reference back to it, so no worries. Hey Patricia or Pat, how are you doing? Glad to see you. So a couple of housekeeping. If you got this notification, you may have gotten the notification or the update through the email, but if you're not getting the notifications, if you're not getting alerted inside the Facebook group that I'm going live or that I've posted something, then make sure that you turn on your notifications. That's a big deal. If your notifications aren't on, then you're not going to get notified. So make sure that you do that. Also, if you know of anybody that you think this challenge would be beneficial for, if it's a family member or a friend, I'd love to have you share it with them, have them join you in, share the Facebook group with them. They can ask to join and they'll get the workbooks and they can register and all of that, and just spread the word. It's fun to have somebody to do something like this, so you're not alone, because you have everybody in the group, but then you have somebody that you know too, so it's a little bit more fun. So if you want to share it, by all means, please do. Definitely would be a gift to them, because I have high hopes that y'all are going to start feeling a little bit better. So what I kind of want to start off with is that if you're in this challenge, most likely you're somebody that suffers from some type of symptoms, whether it's acid reflux or it's a variety of GI issues, or you have lots of aches and pains, or have a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis, or you've got some type of other autoimmune disorder going on and you want to feel better. And I know you can. That's why I'm doing this challenge. I've done it once before, and the participants that were really involved actually felt a lot better. And it's just these simple things that can make such a big difference. And that's what I love. It's like simple things make a huge difference. So I'm excited that you're here. And so the main idea is that we all have inflammation inside of our bodies. Some of us have more, some of us have less, and the ones that have more, usually that shows up in all of these different chronic health issues or these different symptoms that you're dealing with. So we have to decrease the inflammation for you to feel better, and that's what this challenge is going to do. It's going to help you decrease inflammation. That's kind of like our entire goal, and then that's when you can start feeling better. What we have to do though is we have to change diet. That's like a given. We have to change our nutrition. I'm kind of talking like an overhaul here today, but we'll talk about this a little bit later in the Facebook live. But this is going to be your challenge, so you're going to make it work for you. So if you can't do everything that I suggest, that's okay. You just pick what you can change. So we have to kind of like clean up our diet. We have to do some clean eating, right? We've got to take out the junk and the things that are kind of like providing toxins in our body for these chronic issues to show up. So let me talk a little bit about the microbiome and the immune system. I'm sure everybody's heard about the immune system, but I'm not sure if everyone's heard the term microbiome. It is such a buzzword these days, so maybe you have, and if you've done any research on gut health, then maybe you've seen it on the internet. But keeping our immune system and our microbiome healthy is super, super important, because these two things are kind of what dictate our health. So the microbiome basically is just like trillions of microbes that are viruses and fungi and bacteria, and it basically covers our body inside and out. I mean, it's just everywhere. But most of our microbiome is housed in our gut, and so the microbiome also dictates the immune system, whether it's going to be healthy or not. So keeping the microbiome healthy by feeding it really good, nutritious foods and tons of variety of nutritious foods is going to be beneficial for you. That's going to keep your microbiome healthy, and that's what's going to dictate your health. So most likely you'll be healthy and you'll live, a healthy lifestyle. So let's kind of focus on it. Does that make sense to everyone? Sometimes, some of that stuff can get kind of confusing. So basically we're focusing on the microbiome and the immune system and getting those healthy. And we're going to do that with nutrition and some of the other tasks that we talk about this week or this coming week. Yes. Okay. Awesome. And okay, I've got some notes here to kind of keep me on track. So let me see what I've got here. So one of the things that we want to think about, first of all, everyone got the workbook in the email. So that's workbook number 2. And let's just kind of go through that a little bit. The first page just kind of talks about foods that I want you to enjoy during the challenge. So there's a lot of foods that you can enjoy during the challenge, but there are a few foods that I want you to try to eliminate out of your diet. And again, I'd love for you to eliminate all of these things, but if you can't do that and that seems really overwhelming to you, then just pick a few things that you think that you can get out of your diet and keep out for, the 7 days during the challenge. So things that are toxic to our body are foods that are preserved, that have lots of chemicals in them, lots of high saturated fat or trans fat, tons of sugar, things like that. So we want to remove those foods that have a lot of sugar, or those drinks that have a lot of sugar. So Gatorade, sodas, Powerades, the energy drinks that are everywhere. Those things we want to try to pull out of our diet. The sugary desserts, the candies, baking with a lot of sugar. We want to try to remove sugar out of the diet as much as we possibly can, adding sugar to your coffee, to your sweet tea here in the South. So that's one thing we want to focus on. We also want to focus on removing fast foods out of our diet. So, not stopping at McDonald's every morning to get your McMuffin or whatever it's called. Not stopping at and grabbing fast food every day for lunch. We want you to be taking your own foods for lunch so you can control what goes inside your body. The healthy foods that you're including into your nutrition plan. Also the processed foods. So all of those pre-packaged foods in the frozen section or in the aisles in the grocery store, those foods that could be there forever because they've got so many preservatives in them, and then they've got a lot of chemicals added to them. Many of them have added sugar or lots of salt or lots of fat to make them taste, palatable. So we want to remove those types of things as well. A couple of other things that I think are probably the hardest for most people, and I'm going to be doing this challenge with you, and it's going to be a challenge for me as well, but removing alcohol, because alcohol decreases the permeability of the intestinal wall, and it can cause something called leaky gut syndrome. And when you have leaky gut syndrome, oh my gosh, that can create all sorts of problems for you. It leads to autoimmune disorders, and it can lead to GI issues. It can cause, issues with your mood, your anxiety, just an array of problems. So getting that alcohol out, which, is difficult. We all love to have a glass of wine in the evening or be social with our friends, however you want to look at it. But no, try really hard. No alcohol for 7 days. And then the coffee, and people will kind of fight me on this as well. The coffee, especially if you have any issues like acid reflux or GI issues, it is a trigger, and not in a good way. So I would, hope that you could try to take coffee out of your diet. I do talk about including green tea and matcha tea, and both of those have a little bit of caffeine, but they also have a lot of good health benefits too, like lots of antioxidants that are good for your health. So those are a couple of things that you can add into your diet, and then some herbal teas and things like that. let's see, staying away from any kind of like prepackaged seasonings, like a taco seasoning that might have a lot of MSG in it. Just using your own spices and herbs. And then if you need ideas on how to combine those, you can make your own taco seasoning. Using Pinterest can be very helpful. You can also ask here in the Facebook group and I'll help you with things like that if you don't have any idea on where to start. But if you're on Pinterest, you can find tons of things there that are usually really healthy. So the junk food, we want to get the junk food out as well, right? The vending machine at work or the crap in the gas station, all of that kind of stuff we want to get out of our diet and replace with good healthy snacks. The chips, the crackers, the candies, even the trail mix, when you think that might be healthy, not so much. What else is in a vending machine? I'm asking my husband. But yeah, just the vending machine and those, those snacks at the gas station that can live on the shelf forever. We want to get those things out. Also, along the lines of the sugar, we want to try and remove those foods that contain sugar alcohols. So, you can find those in candies. Where else? Just anything that is very sweet, we want to try and remove out of the diet. We're trying to also kind of adjust and change our taste buds to not need those foods anymore. So anything that's really, really high in sodium, really high in sugar, high in fat, we want to try and remove those things. Hi, Kate. Thanks for joining. And I see that you said, I think that's what I have. I'm not sure what that was referencing. Let me know.
That was Anne, and she said that she thinks she has a leaky gut.
Oh, leaky gut. Okay, yeah. And leaky gut, so many people have that. And do you understand what leaky gut is? Leaky gut, basically, we want our intestinal wall to be like really tight. We want tight junctions there, holding everything inside the intestine that's supposed to be there. But when you have leaky gut, you start to have these loose junctions where you have holes in your intestines and it's permeable. So things are crossing that border that shouldn't, that go into your bloodstream and make you sick. So it could be the food that you're eating or the medication that you're taking. It just could be all sorts of different things. So we want to make sure that we can get those junctions nice and tight and keep everything inside the intestine where it's supposed to be. Well, good. You don't drink, so you don't have to worry about that. There's all sorts of things that can help with leaky gut. It's not just alcohol, taking alcohol out, but I think some of the things that we talk about over the next week, I think can be helpful. So it's a process. You don't fix leaky gut like that. It's a process of, healing and mending, but these are the things that I'm going to teach you and show you are things that can help. So I'm excited that you're here. All right. Okay, so you guys understand kind of what I want you to remove. The other thing I will mention, and I don't expect you to quit tomorrow, but I will say, especially if you have acid reflux, GERD, any kind of hernia, ulcers, if you smoke, that is going to just exacerbate that symptom or that chronic issue, that health issue that you have. So, again, I don't expect you to quit tomorrow. I know that that's probably a huge challenge for many people, but it's something to think about and kind of keep in the back of your, your head here that if you think that you could start that journey, it would be super, super beneficial to you. So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so in the next few pages, I wanted to just kind of, talk about their recipes here for you. So if you have no idea of what you're going to eat next week or prepare or make, this will get you started. And then during the last challenge, I actually did put a link in there for several more recipes just to kind of help people. So I'll pull that link up and put it in the top so y'all have that available. And I actually might even put it over to the side in, I think there's a notes section or something like that. I'll let you know where it's at so you can access it. But there's several more recipes to give you ideas of what you might be able to eat next week. So I've got some smoothies here, and smoothies are a great way to start the day. You want to make sure, either follow this recipe or, look at Pinterest, but you want to make sure that your smoothies aren't just fruit, because that's going to be, fruit has natural sugar in it, and it's going to shoot your blood sugar up and then drop it just maybe like a candy bar would. So you want to balance out your smoothies, and you want to have some fruit in there, maybe some non-starchy vegetables like some greens or some mint, some herbs. Add maybe some nut butter, and if you don't do well with peanuts, you can do almond butter, you can do sunflower butter, you can add chia seeds in there. And if you've never heard of chia seeds, they're great. They're little seeds that are full of iron and omega-3 fatty acids, protein. So the protein helps balance out the carbohydrates from the sugar in the smoothie. You can put these in smoothies. You can sprinkle them on cereal, in like a non-dairy yogurt. You can do all sorts of things with these things. So these are a great addition to your diet. So these are the chia seeds, and if you're a member of Costco, they've actually got some really great products. I bought this big bag at Costco, but you can find this at Trader Joe's, or your most basic supermarkets will have chia seeds. So that's great to add into your smoothie. You can also add things like the hemp seeds here, hemp hearts. They've got protein and omega-3 fatty acids as well. Really tons of nutrition in here. Again, you can sprinkle these on anything, even in your smoothies. So make sure you balance out your smoothies with some protein from maybe some of these, the hemp hearts or the chia seeds, and the nut butter, and then add in your, reasonable amount of fruit, some non-starchy veggies, maybe a dash of some raw honey, or a little bit of 100% maple syrup to sweeten it up a little bit if you need that. You can also sprinkle things in like cinnamon or powdered ginger or powdered turmeric, things that are really good for gut health. If you guys have any questions at all, post them, okay? Couple other things for breakfast. You could do some overnight oats, which is super simple, and you can have those made and ready in the refrigerator for the week. I just use this kind of short and wide jar to put my oats in, or my quinoa. If you don't like oatmeal, you can use quinoa. Quinoa is a great grain. It is full of not just carbohydrates, but protein. It has all of your essential amino acids, like if you were eating a piece of meat. That's the type of nutrient you will get out of this grain. So you would have to cook the quinoa first and then put it in the jars, but it only takes 15 minutes. It's super easy. The oats you can just put in there, and you'll see that from the recipe. But then you can add your fruit. You can put nuts in there. You can add chia seeds or hemp hearts. You can put some flax seed in there. I think I have that here. This is ground flax seed, a great source of fiber. So if you're having issues with your GI system and need a little extra fiber, just a small amount of that in your oats or your quinoa would be great. Again, you can spice it up, both the quinoa or the oats. And then I've got a suggestion here for avocado tuna salad. So we're not using mayonnaise, we're using avocado instead, and that's a nice healthy fat and a great recipe. It's got some nice I guess flavor. It's got celery and cilantro, the avocado, the onion. So it's a great meal to make for lunch. So I have pulled out gluten and dairy from the elimination diet. The only thing that I did put in is if you feel like you need bread, I added this Ezekiel bread. It does have gluten, but it's got a variety of some awesome grains in here, and it doesn't have any sugar. And this is really the only bread that doesn't have sugar. So if you felt like you needed a sandwich or some toast in the morning or something like that, you can use this. Now, if you feel like gluten is an irritant for you, maybe you haven't been diagnosed with celiac disease, but you feel like you just don't feel good when you eat gluten, then keep this out and let's see how you do. But if you feel like you're okay with a little bit of gluten, you can use this bread if you need to. So you can make, a tuna sandwich. You can eat the tuna plain out of a bowl and just have maybe some fruit on the side. You can eat it with some celery sticks. You can put it on a bed of lettuce and make a salad out of it. So lots of things you can do with that. Then I've got some different recipes here for you if you feel like you want to venture out. I did add in the veggie scramble because it's super easy. You could do this for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Eggs are so versatile, and you just add a bunch of vegetables to them and it just becomes so healthy. I have some pancakes in there, a couple of different snacks. So if you need snack ideas, I've got some things listed here. You could do fresh fruit. You could do some cut up veggies with the tuna salad or a homemade bean dip or hummus. You could have olives and, I did bring them in. I like this brand here. It's called Lindsay Naturals, and you want to make sure it's the Lindsay Naturals. And this will just be olives, water, and I believe sea salt. No chemicals in here. There's also another brand called Santa Barbara, and I think I have those listed on your sheet. I haven't been able to find those in the South, but maybe it's on the West Coast. But you can use olives as a snack, maybe some unsweetened applesauce, some herbal tea. I've got some different energy bars listed here for you. Let me grab these things. So Lara bars are really good. They're very, very basic in their ingredients. And I have listed here the cherry pie, the pecan pie, the cashew cookie, the peanut butter cookie, and the peanut butter and jelly are the best ones and those are the ones that I would like you to focus on. So if you have a Harris Teeter anywhere close to you, Harris Teeter has them on sale as of this morning for 77 cents a bar, and that is like an amazing price because usually they're about $1.49 a piece when they're not on sale. So go to Harris Teeter and stock up for your challenge. So these are great to have on hand. Super simple ingredients. Also,
it says apple pie, does it mean it's full of sugar?
Oh no, the apple pie, no. I don't think I have an apple pie here.
They sound like
it's not apple pie, it's cherry pie and pecan pie. So my husband was like, well, if it says apple pie, does that mean it's full of sugar? Because it kind of sounds like a dessert. But I don't think they have apple pie. They have cherry pie and pecan pie. But just to give you, let me see, I probably don't have one. I have one probably in the garage. Typically it's just dates, cashews, and pecans, or cherries, dates, and cashews. And so just because it has that title doesn't mean that it's got sugar in it. So they're really good. And then the RX bars, if you all have seen RX bars, these are great. And this is a new bar that I started using. It's called Epic, and this is what it looks like. And these are great bars too. So they're, again, very minimal, good, clean ingredients. So these are great to have on hand as snacks because, and this is one thing we'll talk about, we don't want you getting hungry next week when you don't have anything available to eat. You could also make some homemade granola. You can snack on plain nuts, and plain nuts, not salted or roasted or anything that has like the flavored powders on there. And we always have plenty of nuts and seeds on hand. So I've got some raw almonds, some raw pumpkin seeds. We've also got plain cashews, pistachios. Those have a little bit of salt on them. Those are okay, but they don't have anything else. Walnuts, pine nuts, pecans, but all plain. So those are great to have on hand. You can make your own little trail mix. One of the things that we buy are the dried cherries. I like dried cherries versus dried cranberries because dried cranberries typically have sugar and oil on them. The dried cherries are plain. It's just cherries, that's it. If you have a Trader Joe's next to you, these can be found at Trader Joe's. They're a great product, and they have lots of the nuts. They've got natural nut butters. They've got a lot of great things there, and usually their prices are better. And then again, if you have a membership at Costco, you can find a lot of this stuff there as well. I found this double natural organic peanut butter there. So if you're gonna be using nut butter, make sure that it doesn't, I'd love for everything to be organic, but I realize that that's not realistic for everybody. So if it's not organic, just make sure that it's natural. It's peanuts and salt. There's no oil, there's no sugar in it. It's just peanuts and salt. Same with the almond butter. Same with the sunflower butter if you use that, because you don't do well with nuts. So just kind of keep that in mind. We're trying to go really natural, really clean. And then past the recipes, there's just ideas of kind of creating your own meals the way that you want to. So I give you ideas on proteins to use, different vegetables, fruits, seasonings, how to put together a salad, how to create a salad dressing. And when you're creating your salad dressing, it's great to use apple cider vinegar, unpasteurized, unfiltered apple cider vinegar as your base. There is, you probably can't see it, but down at the bottom there's like this really cloudy stuff. Before you use this, obviously you would just mix it up and it just, it kind of pulls it all together. But that's called the mother, and the mother is full of enzymes and good bacteria. So this is a great product to introduce into your salad dressings and your cooking. Some other things that you can use are an organic unsweetened coconut, shredded coconut. So if you want to put this in your oats or your quinoa for breakfast, if you want to put it on your pancakes when you make them with your fruit, and maybe a little bit of, a tiny bit of 100% maple syrup, you can do that. You can use this in your baking as well. One of the things that I'm gonna do this week is make some sweet potato breakfast cookies, and I can share that recipe with y'all. And it's just very basic, made out of sweet potatoes and some eggs and chia seeds and some nuts and some dried cherries and peanut butter, natural peanut butter. So it's great to have those types of things on hand. If you're gonna do milk, I would like for you, again, to stay away from dairy this week. I think dairy is a huge trigger for people that have skin issues and have digestive issues. So I would suggest that you drink something like a coconut milk or an almond milk. This is the almond milk that I use, the Califia. It's extremely hard to find a nut milk that does not have gums in it or some additives. I feel like this is probably one of the better products, but if you have digestive issues, you may not do that well with gums. So keep that in mind. You can test it and see how you do, and maybe you can handle a small amount for a little bit of oats or, overnight quinoa or something like that, but just not in large amounts. When you're doing coconut milk, this is at Trader Joe's, and I love it because it's organic and it's just coconut milk. There's nothing added. A lot of the time you cannot find canned coconut milk without gums added in it. So this is a great product. And then if you're gonna do any kind of canned beans, this Simple Truth Organic is a great product. A lot of the time, like Harris Teeter organics are good, sometimes Bush's beans, but basically you just want beans, water, and salt. That's it. No chemicals, no preservatives. So try to, find products that are 5 ingredients or less. That's kind of what we're looking for. That's our goal, 5 ingredients or less. This is the matcha powder, if you've never heard of it or used it. Walmart, it can be pretty pricey, but Walmart has a pretty good deal on that. Walmart also has the holy avocado guacamole. I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me. But the pre-made guacamoles in the produce section, but they have actually packaged just avocado. So they're little minis and it's just avocado. There's no added tomatoes or onions or garlic powder or nothing like that. So those could be a great snack for you as well. We want to focus on things like, brown rice, the quinoa, gluten-free oats. I've got this from Trader Joe's, gluten-free oats here. You can also, if you have tried it in the past, and even if you haven't, you could try a millet or a buckwheat. Both of those are gluten-free as well, and they're grains, so you can squeeze those into your diet. I'm trying to see what else I have here. If you're feeling like you need a cracker or just something that's kind of like bread, you can do these simple meals. This is the sea salt, and that's kind of what I would like you to stick with, and don't venture out into the other flavors. Just keep it really basic. This has got some really basic ingredients, a little bit more than 5, but it's made with almonds, sunflower seeds, and flax seeds. It's got tapioca starch, cassava flour, organic sunflower oil, sea salt, onion, garlic, and rosemary extract. So really basic. It's gluten-free. You could also do rice cakes, and I don't know, you don't have to get like the traditional really thick round rice cake. They make what's called rice thins now, and they're square and they're really thin, more like a cracker, and you can use that to top it with some different things like avocado or the tuna salad, some nut butter, seed butter. There are also buckwheat crackers out on the market, and they have buckwheat flour. They do have a little bit of cane sugar, and I think maybe some salt, but those would be okay to use. And you could use those as well to have toppings on. Any questions from what I've said so far? Does it make sense? Is it too confusing? Have I given you too much information? So the whole idea is just that we want to clean up the diet, okay? So if the things that I've told you or talked about today are really foreign to you and you've never used any of them and you don't know what some of them even are, that's okay. Just, tweak your diet to clean up a few things if you can't do all of these things. Some is better than none. Okay, so I want you to make this challenge yours. So I want it to work for you. And I don't want to cause a lot of stress and overwhelm with it because, and I'll talk about this more during the challenge, but our gut and our mind are connected. And so our mood drives our digestion and our digestion drives our mood. So we want to try to create a better balance with those two. And if you're super stressed about this challenge, it's going to whack out your digestive system, and we don't want that. So keep it as, if you need to keep it a little bit more simple and more basic, do that. You just make it work for you and your lifestyle. So my hope is that you will look over the blueprint and you'll start to kind of get an idea of what you might want to start preparing, making a list, a grocery list with, and then go shopping this weekend, and even maybe doing a little bit of meal prep so you've got some things on hand next week and you're not just, trying to make and provide for each day. So what I did last time is just made a little sample menu, and I just kind of jotted out some notes on some scratch paper and kind of made it, some ideas, or wrote down some ideas of what I would like to prepare and have on hand for next week. So, just trying to make things simple. I thought, well, maybe smoothies. And when we did this challenge last time, it was in August, so it was warm. So now it's a little cooler outside. I'll probably sneak some smoothies in there. I'm not sure if I'll do that every day because, it's cold outside and smoothies are cold. But that's an option, quick and easy, and gives you lots of nutrients first thing in the morning. Also, I might do, or I probably will do, either the overnight oats or the overnight quinoa and have some of those prepared in the refrigerator. And I might do maybe some pancakes. I work from home, so I have a little bit extra flexibility than some people. But maybe that's something that you just save for the weekend. Let me see, I see some comments coming up.
I'm going to put the link for workbook one in there.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, you're going to put that in there. Okay. My husband actually is putting workbook one in a link to it in the Facebook group here so you can access it. Thanks for asking. At lunch, I'll probably, well, let me back up and talk about dinner. I probably will cook a meal every night and probably from a recipe. You don't have to do anything from a recipe. If you just want to kind of pull from the list that I gave you and have a protein, you know, maybe 2 vegetables and some healthy grain, that would be fine. But I'm gonna cook from a recipe and make a nice big meal so we have leftovers the next day for lunch. So most days we'll probably do leftovers, but I definitely will make probably the tuna avocado salad so we have some of that on hand, and I might come up with a few other things. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do, and I'll make sure that I have snacks on hand. So I'll probably make the sweet potato cookies, and we have olives on hand, we have nuts on hand, we have lots of the Lara bars and the other different bars that I talked about. And I'll probably make some little energy bites, and I'll share that with you as well. Maybe I'll do like a little Facebook Live on how to prepare those. They're super easy. Just put them in the freezer and take them out when you want. One other thing I wanted to talk about or mention, Trader Joe's has these little fruit bars. So they're like protein bars, but they're made out of fruit. This one is an apple and strawberry, and that's what the ingredients are, apple and strawberry. So this could be a good snack for you, maybe paired with some nuts or something. Let's see. Let me check my notes here.
I should have flipped the camera. Tell everybody sorry things are backwards.
Oh, am I backwards on there?
Yeah, everything's...
Oh, when I show things.
Yeah.
You can still make it out, right? It's backwards, I guess, but you can still make it out. And if you have questions about something, obviously put it here in the group. Okay, so my husband put the workbook in the Facebook group for you. Let's see. So any questions? Yeah. Let's wrap it up. I don't want to take too much of your time today. So if you have any questions, let me know now. If you need to kind of look at everything and mull it over, and you know, if questions come up later, you can just add them to post them here in this Facebook Live, and it will alert me, it'll notify me, and I'll see all the comments so I can get back to you and answer your questions. Again, I feel like this probably is the most difficult, if you want to say difficult, of the challenge, just kind of getting your mind wrapped around how you might change the way you're going to be eating. So again, I want you to feel really comfortable. I want to take out that overwhelm. I want to take off that stress out and make it super simple for you. So Carolyn, are you just joining? Hi, thanks for joining. We were actually just about to wrap it up, but you can listen to the replay in the Facebook group, and we'll be sending out a link in the email tomorrow morning as well. Do you have any quick questions, anything on your mind right now that you want to ask before we say goodbye? But I think if you follow along, you know, if you look the workbook over and really focus on those foods that I want you to include into your diet, and then look at some of the recipes, I think that'll be helpful. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions or any comments, so why don't we wrap it up for the day? And I am looking so forward to starting with you on Monday. So I'll see you then.